There's a lot of talk about the nervous system these days, especially about nervous system dysregulation versus nervous system regulation. In this video, I'm going to keep things really simple to explain to you how the nervous system works, how it might create chronic symptoms like pain, fatigue, and all sorts of other symptoms, and what you can do to heal the nervous system. So basically, the nervous system involves the brain and the spinal cord, and it's a system that sends messages back and forth from the brain to the body. These messages depend on what's going on in one's situation and environment. For example, if one is in danger and is being chased by a swarm of bees, then obviously the messages being sent are messages of threat. So the brain will register the threat and it will induce the body to respond in a certain way. So you will get an increased heart rate, an increase in adrenaline, so you can actually run away from the bees, okay? So it kind of mobilizes the body to act in accordance to what's happening around you, right? And the nervous system is designed to regulate naturally based on one's circumstances. And this is how it works in humans and in animals. So if we find ourselves under a lot of stress, let's say we have an exam or a deadline, it is normal actually to have an increase in heart rate, to have a suppressed appetite, okay? Maybe some muscle tension as one is really focusing on that exam or on that deadline. And then it's totally normal once the exam or the deadline is over for the nervous system to send a different message for the brain to tell the body that, hey, now we can relax, okay? And then the muscle tension will start to dissipate, that person will get hungry again, okay? The digestion will start working again, the hormones will change, the adrenaline will reduce, okay? So there are all sorts of changes happening sometimes throughout the same day, depending on what one is going through. If one is under an emergency, obviously, one will enter into a state that we call fight or flight, which is a state where the body is mobilized to deal with a situation. If one is really exhausted after a really hard day, one may enter into a state of freeze, especially if one is feeling too overwhelmed or helpless. One can start feeling extremely exhausted or tired. That's usually associated with the freeze response. So one is kind of unable to act anymore, okay, given an overwhelming situation sometimes, or feels unable to act anymore, and therefore this person might feel extra tired or chronically fatigued. After a particularly long and hard day, even if it's been a stressful day, the nervous system is able to regulate. If one goes home, let's say, and home feels like a safe environment, the heart rate will start to slow down. The muscles will start to release their tension. The person can relax. He's in a regulated, balanced state, which we also call homeostasis. So it's totally normal to shift between different nervous system states within the same day. And I'm emphasizing this because some people think that just because one is stressed sometimes at one's job, then one will become like totally dysregulated. And that's not true, actually. We are built to deal with stress, okay, for short moments of time. So what happens with nervous system dysregulation? So when the nervous system is dysregulated, the body is unable to get back into that calmer state, okay? So let's say a person is chronically stressed or is going through a really distressful time. Then when he gets back home, let's say after work or after a long stressful day, his heart rate might not get back down to resting level. His body might continue to fire certain stress hormones. His muscles will stay tense and his body will stay guarded, as if that threat, whatever that threat is not over, okay? And this usually happens either due to trauma or a distressing event that causes the individual to perceive danger beyond that event, okay, to continue to be on the alert, scared, worried, or fearful of something bad happening. And it can also happen after a prolonged time of chronic stress or worry or fear. So one such example, for example, could be the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of people spent a long time living in uncertainty, not knowing what's going to happen, living in fear of catching a deadly virus. So having been a long time, and also during that time, a lot of people were isolated. And again, isolation doesn't help with emotional regulation, because when we interact with other people, when we go out into the world, then the nervous system is able to relax again. I mean, it's one of the aspects that can relax the nervous system, to be connected to others, to be out into the world. So having gone through a long time when one is isolated, uncertain, scared, or whatever, can significantly dysregulate the nervous system. So this is just one example. Of course, everyone is different. It could be that someone has gone through a really, really tough time with sickness in the family, okay, or an accident. So whatever has a strong impact, usually in the long term, can cause the nervous system to go into dysregulation. And when this happens, one starts to experience several mind-body conditions, such as chronic pain, fatigue, heart palpitations, sometimes depression, okay? So that happens because the body basically goes out of balance and is unable to get back into balance even when one is supposed to be relaxing, such as, let's say, in the evening or after work. In the past, nervous system dysregulation was also known as mind-body syndrome. It still is, actually, although with mind-body syndrome sometimes we refer more to psychosomatic conditions that exclude other changes like hormonal changes. Whereas with nervous system dysregulation, it encompasses all sorts of changes that take place due to this chronically dysregulated state. So how do you heal the nervous system? How do you get back to regulation? So nowadays there are various tools that can help you with this. As a TMS practitioner myself, I always recommend first looking into the psychological reasons why one has gotten into this state. Because just being aware of what happened, just being aware of what kind of dangers you're still perceiving, or what kind of worries you're still living through, what kind of fears are still accompanying you, just being aware of this can help you start regulating as you start to see what's happening and understand what's happening. And I think one of the key things is understanding that this is something that can happen to us, and it doesn't mean that it will stay like this forever. Just by acknowledging this, you can take away some of the fear that's starting to build up around your body. Because if we're significantly dysregulated and we're experiencing symptoms, the problem is we also start to worry about our symptoms. We also start to fear our symptoms. So you can imagine it's like adding another layer of worry and fear on top of the other layer below that has caused the dysregulation in the first place. So, as I said, the first step is always acknowledging what has led to this, what changed in one's lifestyle, in one's situation, what is making one extremely worried or dissatisfied or feeling stuck in life. And this can be, a range of situations depending on the individual. After that, it's always a good idea to get clear on what you want out of life instead, and to start building a vision that is more in alignment with what you feel and that you really need, okay? So it's about starting really small, just getting clear on things that you might want in life, how you might take small decisions to get more in alignment with that, and starting to gain clarity basically on where you would like to go going forward. After you get aware of the stressors or the stressing situations that have led to this dysregulation, it's a good idea to actually practice emotional release, which can be done through therapy or journaling, just to make sure that there's no anger or fear that's totally stuck there. That's just to make sure that you're not repressing anything. Emotional repression is a huge factor that is sometimes overlooked. Sometimes you might complain about basic stressors that we have day to day, and then we don't acknowledge what's really bothering us. So exercises like guided journaling can really help you get to the bottom of what's really not sitting well with you, what's really bothering you, what might you be denying yourself, okay? What might you be hiding even from yourself? And there are also tools to help regulate the nervous system, the most popular one being meditation, for example. So with meditation, you basically sit with your body and just come back into your body. Observe it for how it is, with all the dysregulation, all the symptoms that are taking place. The first step is to come back to your body and to really notice. A lot of people who are emotionally dysregulated, they know they feel bad, they know they have symptoms, but they're not so much in tune with their body. Okay, if you stop sometimes and listen to your heart rate and notice how your muscles may be all tense, okay, that can pave the way for relaxation, because as you get aware, as you adopt the observer's perspective, then you can consciously instruct the body to relax. And you can do this through an intention or through self-talk, just allowing the body to relax. Sometimes just by dropping your shoulders during meditation. Sometimes just by observing the breath coming in and out, it can bring you back into your body and induce a sense of calm and peace. Because what happens is that we often forget that we're no longer in danger. We often forget that we're not fighting some monster all the time. We just think that, this is how it is. So if we just stop to meditate or just to observe our body, okay, that can start to send a message to the brain that we can finally relax, especially if we adopt a posture that is relaxed, okay, if we consciously relax our muscles. One other thing that you can do that is really simple but highly effective is to go out, especially in nature. Go for a walk, observe your surroundings, do some basic grounding. By grounding, I mean just maybe standing up or sitting down and just noticing how your body is in contact with the ground, okay, or with the chair you're sitting on or the rock you're sitting on outside. Just noticing how you are a part of it all, just being in the present for a few moments can work miracles on a dysregulated nervous system, especially if you do it every day, and especially if you do it first thing in the morning and last thing in the evening, just to come back to the present, to come back to your body, okay? And most importantly, to accept where you are right now. So there are various techniques, various meditations and somatic exercises that can help you regulate the nervous system. And there's so many options out there. You just have to find the ones that resonate the most with you. My best tip would be to still not ignore the emotional factors, the anger, the fear, the resentment, the worry that you're still carrying around in your head, okay? And to use the meditations or the other exercises simply as tools to regulate alongside the emotional work that you are doing on yourself, alongside the awareness that you're bringing into your life. At the end of the day, the best thing you can do is to live a life that is more in alignment with what you want. It's to seek more moments of pleasure, relaxation, and joy. Is to remind yourself that life is not all about chasing that next goal or fighting this problem, but it's also about enjoying some good moments and looking for those moments, being in the present, okay? Dropping that black or white thinking, and just sometimes just stopping that pursuit, that strong, desperate pursuit of happiness, and being able to enjoy what's around you, to be able to be present with what's around you. That's sometimes the best thing you can do. So that's what I want to emphasize. And despite all the tools that are out there to help you regulate the nervous system, it's still very important to check in with what you want, how you would like to lead your life, right? And to notice how much resistance, how much of a strong sense of control you tend to have because one of the main factors that gets us into emotional dysregulation is this urge to change a situation at all costs, this urge to fight something, okay, the desperate need to reach a specific outcome or else. It doesn't have to be that way, right? It's just us as human beings that tend to think that we need this, or else we're going to be unhappy. And sometimes when you realize that that's not true, when you realize that you can actually live with all the chaos around you and still enjoy certain moments of peace or love, then that's when the nervous system will calm down. As you realize that at the end of the day, you can always come back to yourself, to your body, to those who you love, to a hobby you like, and then tomorrow is another day. So that's all from me for today, and I wish you all a lovely week ahead. Bye-bye.